Social psychology. This is one of the more fascinating areas of psychology that we will talk about. And we're going to talk about several topics in this chapter that are worthwhile, including conformity. So group conformity, when you're around people, why you behave like them. Diffusion of responsibility in a group. Obedience to authority. Phenomena like the bystander effect. Attribution. And attribution is a topic that gets to the question of when we succeed, to what do we attribute success? When we fail, what do we attribute failure to? Personal perception bias, cognitive dissonance, attraction and loving. We can skip that probably. Nobody's interested in that, right? No interest. Forming first impressions, prejudices, and attitudes. And we won't talk about them in this particular order, but you can see social psychology as a field covers an enormous amount of pretty interesting behaviors. So let's talk about first impressions. What are the... This will work better if I record the screen. Can you do the door for me? Thanks. Probably should have been louder than that. Huh? No. I'll just be deeply disappointed in you all day. All right, so our first impressions, what are the determinants? What shapes those first impressions? We all like to think that all of our valuations of other people are well-founded and thought out. The data seems to suggest otherwise. We make our first assessment of people, our first impression of trustworthiness, in 100 milliseconds. 100 milliseconds. It is a flash in the pan. Is that fast? It's not a cognitive, it's a cognitive process, but it's not a conscious process. Why would we do that? Well, it turns out that it's pretty adaptive. Because if you're approaching people you don't know in something less than civilized circumstances, a quick decision as to whether they're going to hit you with a rock or be friendly towards you is important. You need to be able to make that determination. And so there's an adaptive reason to jump to conclusions. Now remember, this is first impressions. But there are some other interesting things that come out in the mix. We judge physically attractive people as being more intelligent, better adjusted, and more socially aware. It gets worse if you are aesthetically unappealing. Good-looking people, those who are judged to be attractive, are less likely to get carded. So all along I thought it was just that they were upping the ages of when they had to card people. It may be that I'm just really ugly. Because I get carded a lot when I'm buying alcohol. Well, I don't buy, not for me. It's for my mother for medicinal purposes. But people who are better looking are less likely to get carded. Well, I'm happy. So you believe that I'm ugly or that attractive people are less likely to get carded? We'll just move on here. We do not outgrow these tendencies. These tendencies stay with us through life. So you'd like to think that you get older, a little bit wiser, you stop being such a jerk, on kind of fifth grade social activities. You really don't. You'll maintain these tendencies through life. They seem to be somewhat hardwired. So if you've always thought that those better-looking people have it easier, you're right. So, case solved. Moving on.